Friday. Welcome to the Rami LaVie podcast. Again, I told you we're going to be doing this on Friday, previewing the weekend. And this weekend is a great weekend in New York City. We obviously have the Knicks and the Rangers playoffs. The Rangers we'll talk about a little bit on Saturday night's episode, previewing what's going to happen in the Rangers playoff series. But right now, let's talk about the Knicks. And I got something at the end of this. Stick around. Special announcement coming up for the Rangers playoffs. But the New York Knicks start their playoffs tomorrow, Saturday, at the Garden against the Philadelphia 76ers. Game 1 at home, 6 p.m. Huge game. Now, I'm going to preview Game 1. I'm also going to preview the series as a whole because I'm cautiously optimistic about the New York Rangers or about the New York Knicks in this series. Is it a tough draw? Is it not exactly what we wanted? I don't know. The Knicks players have been incredible. What they've said in the media is perfect. Look, B-ball Paul, you could say whatever the hell you want. We got the, quote, easier matchup. Sure, the Knicks are the easier matchup. Yeah, I guess they're not as good a team as the Boston Celtics. But you didn't get no easy matchup, Philly. You want easy? Sure. We'll show you. We'll make it a quick and clean, easy sweep. The New York Knicks are not afraid of anyone. They don't care. Isaiah Hartenstein said, all right, we don't care what they say. We're focused on us. Same thing with Josh Hart. We don't give an F what they say. We're focused on us. That's the attitude you want to see from the New York Knicks. You want to see guys who came out here and are ready to prove whatever they have to prove. That's been the attitude all year long. I just read the article, if you didn't read it, in the Players Tribune from Jalen Brunson. He wrote like an ode to the New York fans, how he grew up around Tom Thibodeau, and he taught him hard work, and he taught him what it means to be an underdog and always strive to be better and greater and get better and get better. Never stop. He said he's not the most athletic guy. It didn't matter. He always was trying to be better, and that's how he learned that. And Tom Thibodeau is a guy like that. And now he's together with Tibbs and with his teammates from Villanova. And they all have one goal. And the way OG seamlessly fit into that. He talked about how much they're all striving every day to just be better than they were the day before. Take it one day at a time. That is the identity of this team. So it happens to be the Knicks have now shifted to favorites in the series because Joel Embiid is questionable for Game 1 with what's called injury. I think they said injury maintenance. Joel Embiid is not 100%. I told you this a couple of days ago. He's not going to be 100% in this series. So we'll get into what that means a little bit later. But the Knicks don't care. It's not about the opponent. It's not about Joel Embiid. It's about us. It's about what we have to do. It's about Jalen and Josh and Dante and Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein, OG Anunoby, and all of these guys, Deuce McBride, Bojan Bogdanovic, from the top down, Leon Rose and Worldwide West and Tom Thibodeau, all the way down to the last guy on the bench, coming together as a team and playing the basketball they know they're capable of and giving a full effort for 48 minutes. That's what the Knicks need to do to win any series. And it doesn't matter who they play because they could beat anyone in a 7-game series if they do that. I don't care if it's the Boston Celtics or the freaking Denver Nuggets or if it's the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. So I'm glad you're happy you got us, Philly. Now, the reason I'm cautiously optimistic is because, yes, it is a tough series when you look at the series itself. And there is something to the entire identity of the Knicks team being their effort, being their hustle, being their grind. Because my biggest concern in the playoffs for the Knicks is something we saw a couple of years ago. And I want to get this out of the way right on top. What we saw a couple of years ago when they were the big, we hear 4 seed, Julius Randle, they weren't a talented team. They were Randle and a bunch of scrubs, and Randle played out of his mind that year. And I know they had some other contributions from other guys. They weren't just scrubs. But at the end of the day, they weren't as good as the 4 seed, and they weren't as good as the Hawks. And they overachieved that year. And then it fell apart in the playoffs, which is fine. It happens. But what happened to the New York Knicks that year is once they got to the playoffs, it fell apart because during the regular season at home in empty arenas, the Knicks were bringing the energy, the effort every single night when teams were just coasting like teams do in the NBA regular season. And then when they got to the playoffs, the Knicks didn't have another level to go to, and teams were matching their energy. The question is, can this New York Knicks team with Jalen Brunson, with a healthy OG Anunoby, with a healthy Hartenstein, Robinson, all those guys other than Randle, Can they take it to another level? I believe they can. I believe this team is more talented. I think there's another level they can get to. The heart, the grit, the effort. I love all that. That's what defines this team. Can it hold them back? Is it going to be that now that other teams are matching that, the Knicks can't keep up? I hope not, but that's my one concern. Now, why am I optimistic? What we've seen from Jalen Brunson the last couple of months in particular, since it was announced, especially that Julius was not coming back, Jalen Brunson turned into one of the best superstars in the league. And not only that, the offense as a whole, the New York Knicks offense flows better without Julius Randle. And when the game slows down in the half court, which is what happens in a long series, especially late in games when you need buckets, you need the offense to flow. It can't just be a one-on-one. So when they're trapping and sending doubles at Jalen Brunson, he has to run around and create space for himself. It ultimately creates space and time and shooting lanes and lanes to the rim for everyone else on the team. So the Knicks offense as a whole moves. And it's why Jalen Brunson's assist numbers have shot up. It's why the team's assist numbers have shot up. It's why it's so important that Isaiah Hartenstein, who's such a good passing big man, is out there. It's why it's important that you have OG and Deuce who can knock down threes on the floor in addition to Dante DiVincenzo. And maybe Josh Hart's also facilitating. It's not about one guy. It's about everyone playing together. That changed when Julius Randle went out. The problem is, without that second star that Julius Randle is, if Jalen Brunson is being contained, if every team says, our number one goal, our mission is to stop this guy, and they're successful, who's going to step up outside of Brunson? You need Brunson to step up every single night in the playoffs and be that guy if they want to do anything, if they want to make any kind of noise in the playoffs. So it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you love what this offense looks like without Randle. On the other hand, if Brunson's contained, and we don't know if anyone can contain Brunson because we've seen teams now try for the last 2 months, doubling him, tripling him, hitting him. Doesn't matter. You can't stop him. How is it going to be called in the playoffs? How are the fouls going to be called? Is Embiid going to be getting to the line, foul hunting the whole time? Is Brunson not going to be getting to the line the same way? Those are things that are going to work itself out over the course of the playoffs. Now, speaking of Embiid, and we'll get back to the Randle conversation in a second, because Joel Embiid might be out for game one, which means that game one is a must win. Last year, the New York Knicks went down 0-1 in the series to Miami in a game Jimmy Butler sat, and the Knicks never recovered from that. Now, I know they had a chance, and Jalen talked about it in his article, that he still thinks back to that play where he had the ball down late in the game in Miami in game 6, had the possession, and he fumbled the ball. He turns it over. If he doesn't, who knows what happens? Maybe the entire season changes. Maybe they go to who knows what happens the next round? Who knows? Go and face Boston. They were good against Boston last year. No one knows. That said, they can't go down in a series again the way they did last year with the best superstar out. And if Embiid is out, then they have to secure game one at home. It's a must win if he's out. Now, they still should win at home. They can't lose at home, even if Embiid's healthy, or he's not healthy, but he plays. And Embiid is so special that he has this thing that some superstars just have, where that whole game against Chicago, against not Chicago, but against Miami, he stunk. But in the biggest moments, he made 4 or 5 plays that changed the whole course of the game, that won Philly the game. So he's that level of superstar that even if he's not close to 80%, which was the report that we're seeing, that he's not even close to 80% of full health, he could still be extremely effective. But that's also part of it. Joel Embiid can be effective and the Knicks can still win. There's a weird thing. Do you want to specifically stop Joel Embiid and focus on stopping Joel Embiid and put all your focus on that, and then other guys can now beat you? Or do you let Embiid get his points, let him get his rebounds, and see if you could shut down everyone else? Just make sure no one else beats you. They don't beat you with the threes. They don't get the open layups outside of him. And that's how you beat the Sixers. And the reason I think it's the latter is because you go back to a game on January 5th. Now, this was when the Knicks were at their height, peak. Julius Randle, OG was already there. These guys, this was the best Knicks run, right? January. The Knicks beat the Sixers 128-92 in Philadelphia. Absolutely crushed them. The thing is, Joel Embiid had his 30 and 10 in 30 minutes, 30 points, 10 rebounds. He had 12 free throw attempts in that game. So it's not like Joel Embiid wasn't getting his. He was. And if you want to look further into it, Julius Randle played in that game. He was 1 for 11 from the field, only 8 points in 30 minutes. He stunk, and the Knicks still won by 36 points. So what does that tell you? Let Embiid get his. Just worry about stopping everyone else. And it tells you that even if Julius Randle stinks, he hurt the team in that game, and yet still they won by 26 points. So is that the method? Do we just let Embiid get his? Now, I think there's a combination of both where you could throw so many bodies, whether it's OG, whether it's Hartenstein, whether it's Robinson, whether it's Achua, rotating guys at him, using OG as a kind of like a middleman, like a safety almost, who can help out on him, but still recover in time and rotate in time to stop shooters. There's a lot of different things they can do, and I trust Tom Thibodeau that he's going to do it. But ultimately, if you just let Embiid beat you one-on-one and stay out of foul trouble, okay, beat me one-on-one. He doesn't have a dunk since he's come back. He's not the same powerful guy inside. He's trying to play a little bit more outside. Sure, take shots from the outside. We're not going to double team you out there. We're going to defend you one-on-one. If you beat us, you beat us, but we're not going to let you ruin everything else. We're not going to let everyone else hit threes off of your double team. We're not going to let everyone else get open layups off of your double team. You want to beat us? Sure. We'll try our best to stop you. But even if you beat us, we could still beat you with everyone else. That's, I think, what the Knicks proved in that game. And maybe that's the strategy where you're not going to just give Embiid whatever he wants, but to an extent, you're not going to sell out for Embiid and then risk losing everyone else on the team, guys who can hit shots. Now, I mentioned Julius Randle was awful in that game, probably addition by subtraction. There's an interesting thing with Julius Randle. And I talked about this with my father yesterday. My father, when the news first came out that Randle was out, he's like, oh my God, we better win the finals before Julius comes back and ruins it. It's a joke. We love Julius. And that's the one thing. I'll always love Julius Randle. As much as I love Jalen Brunson and that article unbelievable. Go read it. As much as I love, obviously, Tom Thibodeau, without Julius Randle, the culture never changes. Without Julius Randle being that first, that really changed what's happened, that started everything in New York and what Knicks basketball is today in that COVID 2021 season. Nothing is what we are today. The Knicks aren't where they are today without Julius Randle. I truly believe that. So we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to Julius Randle as Knicks fans. I believe that. Whether he's here long-term or not, I'll never be able to hate Julius Randle. At the same time, he can still be detrimental to a team. And I don't think he's trying. I think Julius cares so much. I think he loves being a Knick. I think all those things that Brunson wrote in those articles, in that article in the Players Tribune, I think Julius Randle feels the same sentiment and feels the same way. I'm just not sure he can control himself sometimes. And sometimes it manifests itself in a terrible way. Specifically, think about it. And this is what I talked about with my father. When he's going up against a team that has a bully mentality, tough guys, right? Like Embiid, like B-Ball Paul. All of a sudden, he gets in his head, Julius does, and he's like, I need to be tough guy back. And he's never going to be as tough as those guys. And that's when you see him have a 1-for-11 shooting game and struggle and turn the ball over a bunch. Where he does help in a series against Boston, where Boston's soft and they're weak, and that's one of the complaints about them. That's one of the big things about them, that they're a soft team, and he could bully Porzingis, and he could bully some of those guys. Yeah, I'd love to have Julius Randle. I would love to have him in a series against Boston, but in this particular series, I'm not sure the Knicks are fully going to miss Julius Randle. I said they need a second guy off of him. So this is not an anti-Randle thing. I love Julius Randle. I love what he meant for this franchise, what he still means for this franchise. And even if he's gone after this season, which is a possibility, I still appreciate everything he's done. But sometimes you need to move forward. He got you there. Now who are we going to move forward and take the next steps with? We see it all the time. We see it with RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin. These guys got us to relevancy. These guys got us to where we are. We'll always love them. We'll always appreciate them. But now it's time to graduate from them. That might be the case for Julius Randle. I'm not here to talk about anything beyond the season, but this season's and this postseason is going to be telling. What's going to happen in this series? I think the Knicks need to win at least one series, even though it's Philly, even though they drew a tough matchup. For this season to be a successful season, you have to beat Philly in round one, and we'll see from there. But it's one game at a time, one play, one possession. That said, Embiid's not fully healthy. I love what I've seen from the Knicks this year. I'm a little bit nervous, but I think the Knicks win it in 6. It's actually worse odds to get the Knicks in 6 than Knicks in 5. Knicks in 5 is better odds because the elimination game would be at home. But come on, the fans in Philly were booing the Sixers for 3 quarters. The Knicks go up early. Like, you take that fan base out of it. You take that crowd out of it. They're not effective. It's almost like they become anti-Philly. And that's worse for the Sixers, in my opinion. So that's what I think. All right. To the Rangers real quick. And obviously the baseball, the Yankees are going to be home for Tampa this weekend. They're going to honor John Sterling in the Bronx tomorrow. Hopefully we'll catch up on some of that stuff at some point, but obviously the big topics tomorrow are going to be Rangers and Knicks. Game 1 reaction, Rangers, whatever's going on with them. That's going to be the big topics. Now, as far as the Mets are going out to LA. They're going to face Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the first time, the guy who scorned them and went to the Dodgers, obviously. So that's going to be a fun matchup against one of the best teams in the National League. The Mets are hot, but now you have to go back on the road and you have to bring that swag that they had at home back with you on the road. Let's see if they can do that. Obviously, they ultimately found their game on the road. So can they keep it going on the road is the question. For the Rangers, I'm excited to announce something very cool that I'm going to be doing, a project that I'm working on with a kid named Ethan Zaretsky, which is going to be fun, and a couple other people that have been involved in this. And we're going to be hosting a live pre and post game show for the New York Rangers playoffs. For every playoff game now, the first few games, because of my schedule, because holidays, Jewish holidays coming up and different things, it's actually all over the place. So it's pretty wild. I'll be on some of the times, off some of the times. Hopefully after the first 4 games, I'll be more all in on this project. But it's a project I'm really excited for. I'm really hyped about. My friend Johnny Lazarus helped connect me with these people, and I'm really excited for it. It's going to be called Rangerstown Live. It's going to be a live call-in show pre and post game, before and after every Rangers playoff game, where you could call in as a Rangers fan and just shoot the shit, talk Rangers hockey, tell us what you think, what's happening in this game, what needs to change, what needs to be better. So we'll start with a preview show before the series on Sunday, and then we're going to have a live recap right after. We're going to go live with everyone and have call-in. It's going to be super fun. So Rangerstown Live is the name of it. I can't wait to talk to a bunch of Ranger fans, crazy Ranger fans, before and after every Rangers game. We're going to be doing it on TikTok Live, so check it out. Follow me there, the Rami Lavi podcast on TikTok. And obviously follow this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, share it with people you love, because that helps me and I appreciate it so greatly. So until then, have a great weekend, everyone. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night after Knicks game 1, and I guess before Rangers game 1. So until then, see ya. Peace.